Hello guys, and today I will be showing you guys this very underrated game that I found, Humanlife 3. But before that, I gotta point out this thing. My family and I went on a holiday this summer, and that's why I couldn't make videos for about 3 weeks. But I didn't have time to tell you guys that because I just didn't.
Don't ask questions, alright?
Anyways, yeah, let's continue. Humankind is basically a team survival game that is very historical. For example, in stages, you have from Neolithic, which is the Stone Age, all the way up to the Modern Age. Like there even is a map in this game, and the maps are different in each server, because each have their own civilizations. There is also this tech tree thing where you can buy upgrades. For example, horse domestication helps you get horses for better travel. Oh yeah, you can also customize yourself, but that's not that important. Okay, let's actually go to the game. But before that, we need to select where we spawn. For our first option, we have being born in a civilization that's not full, then joining a friend, and then being born in a selected continent. So the first thing that you need to do after being born is to select a class. Each class is basically a different role. For example, farmer provides food for the civilization, and blacksmith provides tools, armor, and weapons for the civilization. By the way, you can get these classes simply by obtaining enough job tokens, which are gained by leveling up. Oh, also, the farmer doesn't cost any job tokens. By the way, you can't see the job tokens in my screen because I actually have a game pass, which makes it so that the classes are free. The thing that you need to do after selecting the class is to mine trees and rocks. Those will be used for building materials later on. You'll need these wood and rocks to basically build anything. After you have a decent amount of these wood and rocks, you can get to the building stage. Building in this game is actually very simple. All you need to do is select the thing that you want to build. Then what you gotta do is you gotta place it somewhere. Then this building thing appears where you can actually put the stuff which you need to put in order to build it. It's as simple as that. Oh yeah, also you can upgrade these buildings, which can sometimes get costly with the materials, but are also used to, for example, farmer can upgrade his farm to give food faster. An artisan can upgrade to give better building materials. So what I was doing here was just mining a lot of wood and rocks to, as a blacksmith, make flint tools for myself so that I can get building materials faster for my upcoming civilization which I was gonna make. Then I went in my forge and made myself one flint pickaxe and one flint axe. So the thing that I made after mining some more wood and rocks, I actually turned to farmer so that I didn't starve. Also, farmer can make wheat, which are used to make straw stacks, and with straw stacks you can upgrade your buildings. Then I made a farm where I put soybeans for food, which were the only food that I could plant, by the way, because I needed more levels for other stuff. Then I made another farm where I also planted soybeans. Also, when you plant something, they also use up water. And that's why you need to water them while they're growing, or else they will just stop growing. Next thing I did was get some clay, and that's because I was going to be artisan next, which needed a lot of clay when he was making the build materials. So after selecting artisan, I started building the artisan house where you can craft the build materials. After I built this artisan house thingy, I immediately went to actually craft the stuff needed to upgrade the farms. Then I started getting the soybeans from the farms and also upgraded them. Then in the farms for food I planted rice, and for straw stacks I planted wheat. And then I started mining wood, rocks and clay. After that I made a house for myself, which are actually used to get more people in your civilization. but only if you have one. So if you don't get more people. After that, I went to collect my rice and wheat. And after that, these two randoms came in, which actually I think came in to attack me, but were noob enough to literally just kill themselves. Ooh. Yeah, some people are very dumb. Anyways, after that, a storm came, which basically makes you lose health if you are not under something. That's why I went inside my artisan house to not lose health. Anyways, I was kind of bored just being inside the artisan house, so I decided to be doctor to actually heal the health that I lost, because it doesn't regenerate itself. So then I quickly made a hospital and then healed myself inside it. And after that, I became artisan and made some more building materials. Then I built a stable to spawn horses to basically just travel faster. And while I was doing that, the storm ended. And after that, I felt like I had enough stuff to begin with and started my civilization. And I named the civilization the Chinese Empire because I was about in China. After I made the civilization, I became king, and as king you can actually go to your throne and edit a bunch of stuff in your civilization. For example, you can give a shout out to everyone, then you can also ban people from your civilization, which is not that much of a good thing. And for example, you can also set regime, which for example, in regime you can select higher, which basically makes it so that I think the king's kid becomes the next king after the king dies. And then you can also select democracy, which makes it so that there's like voting where you can vote people. Like you can say like, hello, my name is Funnyverse and I will make the civilization greater. Heck, there is even tax in this game. I know, right? Anyways, not too long after I made the civilization, when I was healing myself as doctor, I got a child. Yay! Well, actually two, cause I think two players spawned at the same time. But anyways, I said hi, then he said hoi dod. Then I asked him to become farmer cause we really needed one. And that was cause I couldn't just switch being farmer and then being blacksmith artisan. Cause then I would also lose my levels as artisan or blacksmith when I switched to being a farmer. I also told him that I can sell my farms to him cause I didn't really need them after not being a farmer. But for example, that just did not work cause I really don't know, that just didn't work. He just told me that it didn't work because he said that the game said to him that it just was not a part of the civilization, but he clearly was. Anyway, so I couldn't give him my farms, so I just told him that you should make your own farms, and then I became engineer so that I could actually make roads for basically just a little faster travel, but mainly for looks. Anyway, sometime later, one of the two players that spawned when I was at the hospital actually left the game. But that was fine cause like 1 minute later, another guy that was named Luki came to my civilization and I asked him to become scholar. And what scholars do is they like basically help you gain levels a lot faster. Then he asked me why, and I said we really needed levels. Then sometime after explaining what scholar did, he actually agreed and said that he could be scholar, but he needed more tokens for that. And then I told him, then just be farmer and just get some tokens for now, then you can be scholar. Then after upgrading my blacksmith for copper stuff, I remembered that you actually needed a lot of levels for that, but sadly since I just switched classes, I literally had none. After that, I went to mine some stuff to gain levels. But I only got like 1.5 levels from that. But then I actually used the resources that I got from the mining earlier to craft some stuff, which also gets me a lot of levels. Then after, I actually went to mine some copper, which I will need very soon to get the copper stuff. And for a bonus, it'll also give me some levels. After mining the copper, another guy came to the civilization, and I said, "Welcome to the Empire of China." Then he tells me that he only knows Chinese and Spanish, which he clearly was speaking English, by the way. But then he tells me that he actually knows English only a little. Anyways, after that, I'm already level 4, which means that I only need one more level in order to make copper stuff. Then after that, I went to the market to sell my blaze stuff that I got earlier when I was artisan. And also the flint stuff that I got when I was leveling up. And by the time I did that, like 2 people also spawned, and that meant that we already had 6 people. Then after that, one of the 2 that spawned, that was named Friend, asked me what jobs we need, and I replied with chef, cause we really needed one for the better food. Cause the food that the farmer produces actually can make you get food poisoning, I think, which lowers your health a bit, and that's why we needed chef. Also, chef's food like gives way more hunger. So after buying food that was very cheap, W username for that, I finally got the level 5 needed for copper stuff. Then after that, I actually mined a lot more copper that we really were gonna need. And also I mined some iron that we were gonna need in the future. So after getting 72 copper, I was ready to make copper stuff. By the way, a thing I forgot to mention in this game was that like a minute in real life that goes means 1 year in your character's age. So for example, the fact that I'm 63 years old right now means that I have played this game for like an hour and 3 minutes. So after crafting a bunch of tools, I also crafted some weapons, such as the G, which is I think like a traditional weapon. And for the G, I think you actually need an upgrade from the tech tree. And also I crafted armor. After crafting a bunch of tools and weapons, I basically gifted a bunch of stuff to my civilization for free. After that, sadly, I had to be doctor because everyone was like sick and I really had to help my civilization. And after that, all my levels went to 0 because I switched classes. Then we also got a new guy. And I asked him to become a defender because we really needed one. We didn't have anyone to defend. So what defender basically does is that they deal more damage if they train at their training ground, so they can defend a lot better. But he refused because they really didn't have any job if nobody attacked, so he just didn't like defender at all. He literally told me that he could be anything else but defender. So after healing everyone, and even myself, this random guy actually asked to become artisan, but first he wanted me to sell my artisan house to him, so he didn't have to craft one. And I obviously agreed because I didn't need it. And also at that point we got another guy called Username that actually joined our civilization a lot earlier to actually become defender, to defend our so-called empire. So since I switched to being a doctor, and now when I switched back to blacksmith, I still had 0 levels. And that's why I actually had to grind to 5 levels once again to get the copper stuff. So after coming from the mining trip, I sold my hospital to this new doctor. So at this point we already had 12 people, which is quite a bit compared to some other ones, and we were actually the biggest civilization in the server. But most people are actually not even doing nothing. So whilst our civilization was growing, some inner problems did happen. For example, this random guy was noble And username, that was our defender for now, actually had killed him in like the past life. So now the kid was angry and tried to kill username. But I mean, nobles basically don't do anything. They just lay around. They just gain money and tax people. Nothing useful. So I honestly respect username for that. Like that's just how it works. You don't be noble. So we already had 15 people in the civilization. Then this random guy decided to make a civilization like literally next to our civilization. Anyways, we went there and actually captured it. Yeah, it didn't last for that long. And with that, I had finally reached 100 years. And that meant that I was kinda like gonna take damage slowly and slowly until I die, cause I was getting super old. But I could stop that by just going to the hospital. But the bad thing about it is that it'll start again. Then I would have to go to the hospital again, and it'll start again, and I would have to go to the hospital again. So I would just need to heal constantly in order to actually survive. And back home, we actually had a lot of food problems. And that was because the farmers weren't actually producing enough food. And if they would, they wouldn't sell them or would sell them for super expensive. By the way, I forgot to tell you guys this, but there's also a family system in this game. And as you can see, my family is massive.
You know what else is massive?
I have 4 children, and those children have a lot of sons, which are my grandsons. And I even have a grandson. By the way, we already had 18 people. Our food problem still continued, but we had finally reached the Bronze Age. And that was because we actually finally had our level 3 blacksmith. And in that we could finally make bronze. And to make bronze we needed 2 raw copper and 1 tin. And right when I was looking at the crafts, username, that was my trusted defender, came attacking on me. I tried to escape, but it was no use. His parrot could hit me from like a mile away. And by the way, username was my own son. I gave him the tools to become defender because I trusted him. He was my own son. I don't know why he did this. And you know what? I was not even a noble. He was one of the oldest people in the civilization. I remember him coming to the server for the first time.
Hi. Hi, Dad.
I remember him selling foods to me for very cheap.
W username for that.
Just for the civilization to grow. But now, he was not only killing his king, but also his own dad. I couldn't bear to fight back because he was my own son. And there, I saw my life flash before my eyes. And learned to never trust anyone. That was my life, and this was Human Life 3.